We still continue our lesson on probability, and today we are going to look at tossing of a die. Tossing of a die. We look at all the possible outcomes when you toss a die, either once, twice, and so on. Alright, so we know a die has 6 faces, so let's look at tossing a die once, okay, and then we consider the possible outcome and so on. So tossing a die once. Okay, so when you toss a die once, what are the possible outcomes? So that is what we are going to look at, the possible outcomes. So when you toss a die once, it can be 1, it can be 2, it can be 3, it can be 4, it can be 5, or it can be 6. Alright, so when a die is being tossed once, just once, these are the faces that we can see. Either you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. So these are the possible outcomes. So then what will be the number of possible outcomes? The number of possible outcomes is going to give us 6. So when you toss a die once, okay, then the number of possible outcomes is going to give us what? It's going to give us 6. It's going to give us 6. So let's look at example. So let's look at this question on when a die is tossed once. Okay, very interesting question. A die is tossed once. What is the probability that a number less than 3 shows up, B, an odd number shows up, C, a multiple of 2 shows up, and D, a factor of 4 shows up? Okay, so we are going to solve this question. Okay, so when a die is tossed once, okay, our possible outcomes, you have to list your possible outcomes. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Then you have to state your number of possible outcomes. My number of possible outcomes is 6. Okay, so a die is tossed once. These are the possible outcomes, the number of possible outcomes. Okay, what is the probability that a number less than 3 shows up? Probability of a number less than 3. So probability of, so a number less than 3. So you look at the possible outcomes. What numbers here are less than 3? We have 1, 2. So 1, 2 is what? Are the 2 numbers that are less than 3. So how many numbers less than 3? 1, 2, which is 2, and the number of possible outcomes will give me 6. So that will give me 1 over 3. Alright, so that is the A. And so a number less than 3 shows up will be 1 out of 3. That is 1, 2. 1, 2 is less than 3. So 2 over 6, 1 over 3. Alright. An odd number shows up. So probability of an odd number. An odd number shows up. So let's look at odd numbers in the possible outcomes. Alright, how many odd numbers? So 1, 3, and 5. 1, 3, and 5. How many are they? 1, 2. So 1, 3, and 5. These are the odd numbers. Okay, so how many are there? There are 3. The total possible, the number of possible outcomes is 6. So that will be 1 over 2. So an odd number showing up is 1 out of 2. The odd numbers are 1, 2, and 3. So 1 over, that is 3 over 6. And we have 1 over 2. Alright. Okay, see. Let's also look at a multiple of 2 shows up. Multiple of 2. Probability of a multiple of 2. So let's look at multiple of 2 in our possible outcomes. 2, 4, and 6. 2, 4, and 6. So how many? 1, 2, 3. So 3 over 6, and that will give me 1 over 2. So multiples of 2. 2, 4, and then 6. 2 and 2, 2, 2, 4, 2, 3, 6. So 2, 4, and 6 are the multiples of 2. Alright, and the last one, probability of a factor of 4. Okay, a factor of 4. So let's look at factors of 4. Okay, 1 is a factor of 4, 2 is a factor of 4, and the 4 itself. So they are 3. 1, 2, and then 4. So I have 3 over 6, and that will give me 1 over 2. So a factor of 4, 1, 2, and then 4. So these are some of the questions that they can ask you when a die is tossed once. So let's look at when a die is tossed 2 times. Okay, and then let's consider the possible outcomes there too. All right. Okay, so when you see a question tossing a die 2 times or tossing a die twice, it can also be the same as tossing 2 dice at the same time. Okay, so the possible outcome that you get from tossing a die twice is the same as tossing 2 dice at the same time. All right, tossing 2 dice at the same time. So we are going to look at all the possible outcomes. So when we are tossing a die once, we know that it is 1 to 6. All right. So we are going to use our table, and then that will be easy for us to find all the possible outcomes. Okay, so let's say I have 2, that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is my die A, and my die B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So I'm going to look at all the possible outcomes. So this is one die here, and then there's another die here. Okay, so when I toss 2 dice at the same time, or when I toss 1 die 2 times, okay, what are the possible outcomes? So we can get 1 die showing 1 and another one showing 1, or 1 2, 1 3, 1 4, 1 5, 1 6, 2 1, 2 2, 2 3, 2 4, 2 5, 2 6, 3 1, 3 2, 3 3, 3 4, 3 5, 3 6, 4 1, 4 2, 4 3, 4 4, 4 5, 4 6, 5 1. I believe you are following. 5 2, 5 3, 5 4, 5 5, 5 6, 6 1, 6 2, 6 3, 6 4, 6 5, and then 6 6. So when we toss a die 2 times, or 2 dice are tossed at the same time, these are the possible outcomes. Either one will show 1 and another one will show 1, or one will show 2, another one will show one will show 1, another one will show 2. So these are what we can get, all the possible outcomes that can happen. Okay. So when you are tossing a die 2 times, one of them will show up, but these are all that can happen. Okay, that's why we say they are possible outcomes. Okay, so now let's look at the number of possible outcomes. Number of possible outcomes, the possibilities, all that we can have. Okay, so when you count 1 2 3 4 5 6, 1 2 3 4 5 6, so 6 times 6 will give us 36. All right, 36. So when a die is tossed twice, okay, or when 2 dice are tossed at the same time, the number of possible outcomes is 36. All right, it's 36. So we can conclude that the number of possible outcomes when a die is tossed a number of times is 6 exponent n. Okay, what is our n? Where n is the number of times the die is tossed. So all that we are saying here is that sometimes in objective code they can ask you a die is tossed 10 times. What will be the number of possible outcomes? So you don't have to be drawing it, then you waste the whole day doing that. All right. So the die also follows a certain pattern. All right. So the number of possible outcomes, when the die is tossed a number of times, it says exponent n. Where the n is the number of times a die is being tossed. So let's say a die is tossed 5 times, or a die is tossed 5 times. What will be the number of possible outcomes? That will be 6 exponent 5. 6 exponent 5 will give me 7776. 7776. Or a die is tossed 3 times. What will be the number of possible outcomes? That will be 6 exponent 3. And 6 exponent 3 will give us what? 216. 216. Sometimes they ask some of these questions in objectives. Okay, so knowing this knowledge is very good and it will help you. Okay, so the next time we meet, we are going to solve question, okay, on when a die is tossed 2 times, okay, or when 2 dice are tossed at the same time. I believe now that we have been able to get the possible outcomes, solving a question on it will be so simple. Okay, I'll see you once again in our next lesson. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye bye.